This is what I eat on a regular day, healthy Indian food. But this is not what you usually see on my channel. Normally, you'd know me from my massive thalis and luxury buffets, and the confusion this causes is apparently immense. How do you eat like that and not gain any weight is an FAQ that always comes up when posting my Food Fest videos. Well, the reality is that I don't eat like this every day. So, what do I eat? Healthy Indian food, and in this video, let's look at what I eat on a regular day. The first thing that you have to know about my eating habits is that I eat according to an intermittent eating schedule. I tried it out 3 years ago. It took me 6 months for my body to adjust, and ever since, I skip breakfast 99% of the times. That 1% is the exception for when I film massive breakfast buffets. So my day starts with a walk with my dog on an empty stomach, which is more peaceful than you would think. This is also my main form of exercise, a 30-minute walk every day in the morning. Now, I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a chai addict, so even though I skip breakfast, I do always have to have my morning chai. In all fairness, I have a domestic help who makes my chai and cooks my food on a regular day, but I do know how to make all these things myself, so I thought I'd show you. For my chai, I've gone through phases where I was first obsessed with cardamom or elaichi, then it was adrak or ginger, and now it's cloves or bada elaichi, which means black cardamom. They make the chai incredibly smoky and give it a deep flavor. Also, I love my chai half with water and half with milk. Other spices that I add are cinnamon, black peppercorns, regular cardamom pods, saunf or fennel seeds, and star anise. I don't think there's such a thing as an overload of spices for masala chai, as you can see. When the black tea is infused with the spices, I add a cup of milk, and personally I believe in unprocessed food as much as possible. Hence why I use full-fat milk, which honestly also tastes 10 times better than processed low-fat milk. This I'll boil up to 3 times and then it's done. I wish you could smell this, it's so good. I also add a spoon of jaggery, which is the Indian variety of palm sugar, and it really enhances the smoky flavor. No better start to a morning than fresh hot chai, and it really gives me that oomph to start my day. By the way, with intermittent fasting, you can have up to 100 calories and it won't break the fast. So this cup of chai doesn't impact my fasting state. Around 1 or 2 p.m. I'll break my fast with my lunch, and I want nothing heavy for this as I still want to feel energetic for work after lunch. 9 out of 10 times therefore I'll end up having a sandwich. The other times I will either have a dosa or a besan chilla, which are Indian pancakes or crepes. I use mayonnaise instead of butter because it's lighter and I love the flavor it adds. For topping, I love my paneer, so I'll just cut it up fresh and chop some tomatoes as well. Now, I don't think I've seen many paneer sandwiches across India. Not like fresh paneer at least, but maybe I'm weird because fresh cheese, which is paneer, for me as a Dutchie, it counts as a sandwich topping too. Is that weird? Let me know down in the comments below. In order to increase my protein intake, I love this Indian drink called chas, which is a drink that's super easy to make. You just take some yogurt, add some water and salt, mix it, and voila! Nutritious, refreshing, and delicious too. Chas is different than a lassi, by the way, because it is a lot more watery. You can make it a little bit more thick, but I like it a little bit watery, and it is just the perfect accompaniment to my sandwich for lunch. During my lunch, I love to watch YouTube videos, food videos, as well as just regular travel vlogs or people living abroad. The reason why I want to mention this is because I know some people will comment like, oh, be mindful about your food, don't do anything else that distracts you while you're eating. To be very honest, since my childhood, I've watched TV during my lunch and I'm not breaking that habit anytime soon. So it might be healthier, but it's just not working for me. My lunch will keep me full until around 5 p.m. but then it's time for sham ka nashta or evening snack. For this, I love to make Maggi just with water these days, even though I've always been raving about milk Maggi. In case you have no idea what I'm talking about, I've linked the milk Maggi video down below. These days, I keep it very light and just add some corn and peas to make the Maggi a bit more nutritious. I truly believe in the 80-20 principle when it comes down to food, so yes, 80% of the time healthy, but guilty pleasures like Maggi should also be there. Another blasphemy for most Indians, by the way, I heat up the chai I made earlier because if I'm cooking for myself, I'm too lazy to cook chai twice. Plus, I love how the spices infuse even more after a few hours. If you just boil the chai well, it tastes just fine according to me. But don't come for me in the comments. Because it's monsoon season, I try to just take a moment for this one and fully enjoy this quick evening snack on the balcony. For dinner, I'll mostly have a rice, dal, and some kind of sabzi type of dish. However, lately I'm completely obsessed with nice, fresh but smoky curd rice with a scrumptious hot dal. Curd rice is a very typical South Indian thing. I don't know if it's a good combination with dal, but I really like it, and both are easy and fast to make, give me a very satisfying full feeling, and the protein is quite high. For the curd rice, I simply boil the rice and let it cool down. The dal recipe is an old recipe my flatmate Nisha taught me, and I haven't ever tried any other one because her dal is simply one of the best dals I've ever eaten. While soaking the dal, I will roughly chop up some onions, and I know a lot of people love to skip the chopping process, but for me chopping onions is one of the most therapeutic things one can do. I also chop up some tomatoes, which are basically the value of gold these days since the price has increased so much. This is all for the tadka, by the way, which is basically the masala or the flavor that is going to make the dal taste like dal. I love to roughly chop the vegetables, so then when you put it back in the dal, you actually have chunks of vegetables that you can still taste or see, but some people also put it in a mixer and make a gravy out of it because they don't like the chunks in the dal. These are green chilies, and normally I'm not a huge fan of them, but I do like them in certain specific things, and in my dal I definitely like to add the green chilies because I do think they enhance the flavor. Then we're going hard on the garlic. Can you see how much garlic is here? We are going hard, my friends, but we are going to chop it up finely so there are not big chunks of garlic in the dal. This was so interesting for me to learn about the dal making process from Nishta. Basically, you boil the dal separately until it becomes a big mush with some salt, and then later you're going to add the masala or the vegetables, or the tadka actually it is called. Now, something I had also never used before I came to India is a pressure cooker, and you have to be careful with this because it can explode if you don't close the lid properly. I think every Indian household has their own recipe for the tadka or the masala, the vegetable flavor that you're going to add to the dal later. This is the simple yet very flavorful one that I learned from Nishta. Basically, you brown the roughly chopped onions, and I like to go hard on my onions, as you can see. Then you add the garlic, that also you will brown a little bit, and then you will add the green chilies. But wait, first, when the whistle goes, you have to turn the dal to a low flame. Then I'm going to continue making the tadka. The following spices are all basic Indian spices that are used throughout multiple recipes, but here I'm using cumin seeds and mustard seeds, which I'm going to fry a little bit until the mustard seeds start popping. Then I'll mix these spices through the onion and the garlic, and then it's time to add in the green chili. Like mentioned before, I really think every Indian household has their own recipe, so if you don't recognize this and you wouldn't put curry leaves like I'm doing here in your dal recipe, that's totally okay, but this is the really flavorful combination that I have learned and I really like it, so I stick to it. Lastly, I'm adding the tomatoes and some more spices, but first obviously I have to add some salt. The salt will actually also help to further simmer down the tomatoes. This is red chili powder, garam masala, and also some mustard seed powder. Stir it all well and really crank up the heat because those tomatoes really need to simmer down. I want them to be soft and mushy, and if it goes too hard, I will sometimes also add a little bit of water because this is really going to give the flavor to the dal. There we go. This is the tadka, or the mixture that will give the actual dal its flavor. As you can see, the dal is plain but it is cooked, so we're just adding in the tadka and mixing that in. When I mix it in, you can see how it turns out into a regular dal the way you may know it. I love how this smells. I wish you could smell it. It is truly one of the best comfort foods I know. I know some people really like their dal super plain, but we go a little bit extra over here. Time to make the curd rice. For this, I will rough up the cool down rice. It is completely cold now, and that is actually also how you eat curd rice. For some people, this may sound really strange because yes, I'm actually going to add yogurt into the rice and mix it in. This is very refreshing and it actually gives the rice a delicious yogurt flavor. But that's of course not where the curd rice ends, because we do have to make a tadka for this as well. I am using this small tadka pan which I only saw in India, and I'm so fascinated by this because it's a tiny pan that you put right on the gas. I am using regular mustard oil for my tadka because I didn't have ghee anymore, but with ghee or clarified butter it is even more delicious. I'm just going to pop some mustard seeds first, and then I'm going to add some asafoetida or hinge. For the crunchiness, I'm adding a little bit of a different variety of a dal which you can actually fry, and then it becomes like crispy chunks in your curd rice. This is one of my favorite things to add to the tadka, dry red chilies, because they really become in deep red flavor because of the frying. And then finally, of course, you can't have curd rice without the curry leaves. You think the hot tadka would actually heat up the curd rice, but actually it doesn't. It is a cool dish and it is usually eaten during summers to cool your body down. But I just love it so much, and especially paired with the hot dal, it makes for such a soul-fulfilling combination. It is really one of my biggest comfort dishes. If you eat curd rice often, how do you eat your curd rice? Because I just always pair it with this hot, smoky, very flavorful dal, and for me this just works as the perfect comfort food on any day. I will also add some saunf pani, which is basically boiled fennel seeds which I've put in the refrigerator, and then it becomes saunf pani or fennel seeds iced tea. Also very healthy, and actually I think it's also detoxing and it drains the water from your body or something like that. I just like the flavor of it, to be honest. Again, I will just have my dinner sitting on the couch watching some kind of Netflix show because that is the most relaxing way for me to have my dinner. I know people are gonna scold me that you should sit behind a table and, you know, focus on your food, but I think everyone has their own style and what relaxes them most, right? Now, again, 80-20 principle. I always need to have something sweet after my dinner. My friend recently gifted me these baklavas and they look so beautiful, but they're also so delicious. And I have a very good balance in this, that I don't eat the whole box of baklavas. I will usually have one or two and that satisfies me. If you are a foodie, I have linked some other buffet and food videos for you down in the description below to continue watching if you want to see more food videos. But I also really hope this video clarified a lot of doubts that you guys have on how I stay fit while eating massive luxury buffets and thalis. That is just once a month, guys. When I'm filming a video, the rest of the time I eat like in this video.